Welcome to Christian Nuggets Bible Study. Short, to the point, inspiration to learn more, inspiration to act, inspiration for today. I am very excited to bring you this lesson because it has impacted my life so drastically. It will be a two-part lesson, and it's called Voice Activated. We are going to read in the book of Mark where Jesus and his disciples were traveling and came by a fig tree. It's one of those Bible stories that a person might hear all their life and never really grasp the meaning, much less know how to apply it to your everyday life. After all, a story is only a story unless you can find practical application for the lesson contained therein. Anyway, let's get started. We will start reading in Mark 11, verse 12. And on the morrow, when they were come from Bethany, he was hungry. And seeing a fig tree afar off having leaves, he came, if happily he might find anything thereon. And when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for the time of figs was not yet. And Jesus answered and said unto it, No man eat fruit of thee hereafter forever. And his disciples heard it. The first thing you might ask is, why would Jesus think the tree had figs from afar off? Most trees have fruit after they get leaves. However, the fig tree mentioned in this scripture was the kind that grew figs before it developed leaves. So this is why from a distance Jesus thought the tree should have figs, even though it wasn't fig season. When Jesus seen there was no fruit, the scripture says, he answered and said unto it. That's interesting. He answered. Was the tree talking to Jesus? Yes, it was. It was speaking to him, at least in a figurative sense. So let me ask you a question. What do the unfruitful trees in your life speak to you? But more on that later. We also read that Jesus spoke back to the tree. He cursed the tree. Why did Jesus do this? This tree was advertising something that it did not have. This tree should have had figs. So you could say this tree was a hypocrite. I know that sounds kind of funny. However, God created the trees and commanded them to work in order. However, this tree was violating its design. Jesus had every right to apply judgment to the tree. Furthermore, man was given dominion in the earth over all the plants and the animals. Jesus did not directly command the tree to die. He said, No man eat fruit hereafter. This is an important lesson within itself. The Spirit of God moves with both words and the intent of the heart. Jesus could have said, Wither immediately, and it would have been so. However, it would not have brought out such a beautiful lesson in the same way. As Jesus spoke to the fig tree, nothing visible happened. The leaves didn't fall off, they didn't turn brown. It's important to note here that the scripture says that the disciples heard him speak to the tree. So try to imagine for a moment what they were thinking. What would you have thought? I probably would have thought something like, Jesus, are you okay? What are you doing? Perhaps maybe they doubted in their heart, seeing nothing happened. The scripture doesn't say explicitly, but we do know that the disciples heard him speak to the tree and heard him curse the tree. This is a good place to pause this first lesson, but before we go, we'll do a quick review. We see Jesus interacting with a fig tree that did not have any fruit. The fig tree was speaking to Jesus, and Jesus was speaking back to the tree, and the disciples heard this interaction. However, nothing visible happened to the tree at that time. So don't miss part 2 when the real fun begins.